Hello, my name is Dean Heald. I have been lucky enough to be able to present a small series of information webinars on children's behavior, understanding children's behavior, and how to respond to behavior. And today we're down to part 10 of 10. I've really enjoyed recording these. I hope that my hope is always that there's a little something for everyone. Most of this stuff is, it acts as a reminder, or at very least, hopefully acts as, something that, will make somebody ask questions. I want to know more about this topic, or I want to know more about how I can more effectively respond to my child's anxiety. Things like the topics like anxiety and anger and depression, and all those things are things that, they could be a full day webinar in and of themselves. And what I truly hope is that this will lead to some people asking questions, whether it's, of people that they, around them, friends or parents or community leaders, elders, or professionals. So really just, like I said, quite, I've enjoyed myself recording these, and quite happy that I was asked to do that. And topic number 10, just a tongue-in-cheek, Pobodys Nerfect, and keep calm and carry on, referring to, sometimes as parents we're going to struggle, and what do we do? What do we do when we have a bad day? When when not all of our decisions are home runs. I always say, there's no perfect parents. They just don't exist. And here I am doing these webinars, and I'm constantly reviewing things that I could have done differently, or I would do, instead next time. And that's really the key. Great parents learn from their mistakes. Great parents adapt. Great parents evolve. Great parents, are willing to own their mistakes, and set the goal to be better next time. So it's okay. Forgive yourself for not being perfect. There's going to be progress and setbacks every single day, and especially I always say, nothing really important will come easy in life, and in my mind, there's nothing more important than being a parent. And so something that important can't possibly be easy. And as we know, and I know you folks out there, you recognize this. Just because something worked today doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work tomorrow. A motivator that was a strong motivator today won't necessarily be a strong motivator tomorrow. So we always need to be learning from our kids, and the fact that as they change, we change with them. Right. And so the key is to adapt our expectations, adapt our approaches based on results, based on feedback, based on advice. And to do that, really, it's so important to have self-care. So important to recognize that, and I mentioned in one of the other webinars, you can't possibly give 100% to your kids, or even close to that, if you don't feel 100% or even close to 100%. So prioritize yourself and model that for your kids. You know what? This is mommy time, and I need my space. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to listen to my music. I'm going to relax. And when I'm done, then we can, play a game together, or then we'll talk about the weekend, or so model that self-care, but engage in that self-care, making sure that, you're doing what you need to do to recharge at the end of a day. Effective parenting means adapting to changes. Like I was saying earlier, your kids are going to change, so will their needs. As they grow older, their needs evolve. So making sure that you're aware of their evolution, and aware of what they need and the lessons that they need to learn. And recognize that their need for increased independence. We know that our teenagers, they're going to they're going to become more independent. They're going to seek that independence, and they can either take it, and it can be a tumultuous time of of them stretching and pushing limits, and and pushing back against the restrictions in the home, or whatever, or it can be a time where we communicate with them and we recognize that need, and we communicate to them clearly and openly about why we have expectations on them, and come to agreement after offering choices and information, come to agreement on what works best for them. As kids get older, more and more, it should be, it should be a cooperative. Decisions should be cooperative. Approaches should be cooperative, and because ultimately, like we say, they're getting closer and closer to that time when they're going to be living on their own. Right. So we want them to practice, making decisions on their own and facing the consequences, positive or, maybe a little bit negative, depending on their own choices, and learning from that. Effective parenting, I've kind of already mentioned this, but effective parenting means seeking advice from friends, so from those people that are parents as well, that have been through that, or are going through the stage of life that you're going through with younger kids, or teenagers. Elders, learning from the wisdom of the people who have been there, done that. I know for myself, the wisdom that I got from my mom, from my grandparents, from my aunts and uncles, was invaluable as I became a parent. As we know, so many things about a parent, you can't possibly, there's no university course on parenting. You kind of go and you learn as you go. And even just watching things like these webinars, they're quick, and they're just a small part of the information that we could offer. But just looking at these kind of things, and saying, okay, that's an area where I want to learn more about. And understanding that we can reach out to people like the wellness team at Kw'umut and ask them, hey, I need a little bit of direction or some advice, or do you have classes or courses, or in this area of parenting. And then, and taking those steps, and adapting and modifying our approaches shows our kids that, we are willing to evolve with them. It's not just about control. It's about, going through the journey of parenting, and being a family together, and making decisions together, and making decisions that are in the best interest of our children, and out of love, not out of control. One of my favorite sayings over my career is that crisis equals opportunity. So crisis is an opportunity to learn about your kids. Where are those areas where they need to evolve? Do they have coping strategies for anger, or frustration, or anxiety, or depression, or do they need to learn more coping strategies? It's an opportunity to learn about yourself. What are my triggers? What am I triggered by? How did I deal with that? Where's an area of parenting or support for my kids that I need to learn about, and I need to get better at. And like I said to begin with, we all have those areas. All of us have areas where we can evolve, we can change to meet the evolving needs of our kids. Crisis is an opportunity to reassure our kids, and I one of my favorite things that I've said over the years, to whether to my kids or whether it's the people that I've worked with, hey, one bad day doesn't undo all the good days that have happened before it. I'm still here. I'm still team Tony. Don't worry. Tomorrow's a new day, and hopefully it'll be a better one. Or reassure your kids. Today wasn't great, and you have consequences, but I hope you know that I love you so much, and the reason why those consequences have to happen is because I want you to learn, and I want you to make responsible decisions, and as you grow you'll understand. So reassuring them that you're there for their best interest. Recommit. I kind of already mentioned that. Tomorrow's a new day. We're here. Love you. Let's talk about it then, or don't worry. this relationship hasn't been harmed. When we have some kids, I've worked with many kids over the years who do struggle attaching or have struggle with attachment, and sometimes we do need to reassure them, and we need to mention that commitment, recommit. Hey, don't worry, I'm here, you're here, we're good, we're still solid, we're just learning. And then role model, it's so important to role model how we as parents and how we as adults deal with crisis. If we keep a calm, cool head, focused on good decisions, focus on helping our children learn, that's gonna, they in turn are gonna learn, like, this is how you deal with crisis. This is how you deal with times when rocky moments, right? So, but if we're elevated, agitated, if we yell, if we threaten, if we make decisions that are done out of frustration rather than thinking it through, they're likely to respond the same way. So during moments of crisis, our kids will learn how to respond based on how we respond. They will match that. So role model that calm, cool, compassionate approach to crisis. Remember, there's nothing more important than your kids knowing that they're loved, right? There's going to be some bad days, but at the end of those days, even when they're angry, hey, love you, have a good sleep, see you in the morning. Just reminding them of that, reminding them that the decisions that you make are done out of love, not out of anger or some desire to control them. Remember, make sure that they know that they're valued, and that your experience as a parent, their parent, is the most important thing in your life, right? Make sure that they understand that as your child, they're valued, and you wouldn't change it for the world. And remember, especially as they get older, they need to know that their feelings and opinions are respected. They need to know that they're being heard. If they don't feel like they're being heard, they're going to find louder ways of expressing those opinions. It'll be through behavior. It'll be through lashing out. It'll be through acting out. All right. So always take the opportunity to stop, listen to your kids, create one-to-one time with your kids, create those opportunities where, even in busy households, make sure that each of your kids feels like the center of your world at least once a day. And these webinars that we've done, it's all about building the best kids that we can possibly build. At the end of their childhood years, the payoff is that they're not going to need you as much anymore, that they're going to go out and that they're going to have a home, and they're going to have a family of their own, and they're going to raise amazing kids of their own, and they're going to learn some of the lessons that you've taught them along the way, and implement them in their own way in their home. And kids remember the time they spent with you. The kids remember the time that your love and your commitment to them was unwavering, and when they felt just nurtured and supported and protected. They'll remember how they felt. Less than what you say, they'll remember how you made them feel. So make them feel loved. Let them, own that you're learning to, own that you're not perfect, own that you're hearing them, own that you're willing to adapt and change based on their changing needs. Tell them though, say those words in your way, but make sure that they understand that. And they'll always remember that, you made them feel heard and respected and loved and valued. And as parents, there's no greater thing that we can do. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you've just watched this one or if you've watched all 10, I do hope that there's been a little bit of something for everybody. If you have any more questions, if you'd like to request support, a little bit of support or a lot of support, reach out. I keep saying it, but it bears repeating. Reach out to the amazing, wonderful, caring, compassionate wellness team at Kw'umut. They're there, and they're ready to support you in those with those little questions or those bigger questions. So there's that phone number. Thanks again for tuning in. All the best to all of you, and all the best and love to your kids. Take care.